If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is August the 3rd, 2023, and today the topic is Sin Lieth at the Door. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope that you all had a wonderful Wednesday. Mine was just fine. I would say not too much overall, even though I did do a little bit yesterday. But they were all pretty much hustles from home, you know what I'm saying? The main thing is I had a conversation with a client, I guess that I'm dating, coaching, and everything like that. Y'all know I do that, right? You know, let me help you, you know what I'm saying? As best as I can. Let the Lord help me help you, right? With dating and whatnot. I feel like it's a skill. Put it out there, and to God be the glory, it's being used in this season. So, yes, so I was actually chit-chatting with my client, and it was sharing, you know, some more resources and whatnot that could possibly be used. So be on the lookout, y'all. Might be sharing more resources with you all and everything like that. So shout out to the client. I don't call you out completely right now, you know, just in case, you know. You want your privacy and things like that. But, yeah, good conversation, good check-in. Super excited for this individual and their journey. Anywho, outside of that, yeah, man, just, you know, being a wife, being a mom, you know, hustling from home, getting ideas together, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get these things going and whatnot. And, yeah, that's the main thing. I feel like there was other stuff that happened yesterday and conversations and whatnot, but again, I guess nothing of significance to share in this moment. So let's get into this conversation about sin lying at the door. Well, so where did this come from today? I would say, well, one, I woke up early, and the verses that I came across were good, you know, and when I looked them up or whatnot, but I listened to the prayer meditation, and it was all about envy and how, you know, true love doesn't envy, things like that. And basically that is where I would say the inspiration came from today. I felt led to just go a little deeper about this idea of envy. And as I did that, obviously, you know, jealousy was right around the corner. So study that a little bit as well. And that's where the inspiration came from today. Now, this quote, sin lieth at the door. Yes, it is Bible, and it was God's warning to Cain. And as I was studying, or started off studying envy, that came into my heart and mind about Cain and Abel. And so I went in and, you know, went a little deeper about that as well. And so, yeah, y'all, that's a little sneak peek at, you know, not only an inspiration, but where this thing is going today. Let's get into it, y'all. Let's get the juice this morning, all right? So, the definition of envy says a feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. And then the second definition says desire to have a quality, possession, or other desirable attribute belonging to someone else. Yeah, I mean, I think we've all felt this at some point in life. We've probably felt both envy and jealousy at some point. And I think with maturity and wisdom and things like that, we can shift those ideas into something better, right? Versus leaning into them into something that will ultimately, I guess, cause us to sin. Um, I'm once again being reminded of Cain. I don't know, the Lord want me to go straight into that? I guess what was coming in my heart and mind just now was that, uh, yeah, that interaction was a prime example of this, Um, and again, God did warn Cain ahead of time, right? He's like, hey, you know, you can do what's right. Um, but, but understand that sin is basically, lying at the door, waiting and wanting you to let it overtake you. And unfortunately, he leaned into that feeling versus just repenting and doing things right. Which, I mean, again, we all fall short, and I'm sure we all have done. But obviously, it notoriously, right, made him the first murderer, and things of that nature. And so, another thing it just seemed to be standing out to me is this idea of death, right, being a result of envy. I know there's a verse, I didn't write it down today, but there's a verse that talks about, I believe, jealousy or envy. And it talks about, you do this because you steal because you envy or things of that nature. Y'all can go look up that verse and whatnot, because I feel like it touches on this idea of, I don't know if it's murder per se, but I don't know. Y'all can go deeper about that if y'all are familiar with the verse. But let's get into these verses that I did write down this morning, okay? So James 3:16, it says, "For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice." Obviously, again, I think the one of the biggest or the main, I think everybody could agree that murder, right, is probably the vilest practice. I mean, I know rape is up there as well. But I'm just trying to think across the board in general. Like, we as humans, I think we put murder as like the worst thing you could possibly do, right? Like, I don't know. Do y'all think it's something worse than? I mean, well, shout out to Allie, because she would say this every now and then. She'd say, that there's things worse than death. I mean, obviously, torture and things of that nature, as well. But I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of vile things, right? But basically, the point is, right, that every vile practice is a result of jealousy and selfish ambition. I don't have nothing to add to that, really. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just very prevalent and clear. Again, Cain is that example of the first indication of it. Or maybe, well, maybe not, because maybe even Adam and Eve, because obviously there was something in them, right? Let's go back to what we're saying here. The jealousy and selfish ambition. Now, were they jealous of God, wanting to be like God? Or that idea, which was from Satan, they were tempted by that idea of being like God. So was that jealousy there? Was that selfish ambition? Perhaps so. So, I mean, I guess we can't look down on Cain in that regard, because, I mean, obviously he got it from his parents, you know. But still, just saying that, again, envy, jealousy, selfish ambition, if you lean into those things and let those things consume you, obviously, no good really comes from it. You guys can go deeper with that account in Genesis, and that shares the quote. It is in the Go Deeper section. But let's keep going to Philippians 2:3. It says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." There goes selfish ambition again, y'all. Like, I mean, man, it's like we just want to raise ourselves up above the next person, right? I guess that's my way of simplifying this idea of selfish ambition. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with like having goals and wanting to do better and want better for yourself or whatever the case is. But when you getting, into the place where you're envying the next person, or you're like the dog with the bone. Like, I know my mom would often tell the story that her dad told her, right, about the dog that had a bone and looks in the lake and sees a dog with a bone and starts barking at it because he wants the bone. Not realize, and then he not realizes that it's him with the bone, but then he loses his bone. So now because you want what somebody else got, you gonna lose what you got. Now I don't know, that might be a word for somebody today. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to be like that. Like, honestly, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm not sitting here again pointing fingers and being like, y'all don't need to be like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying we, myself is included, and what I've been doing, right, to actively combat the idea of envy, jealousy, things of that nature, is I've been practicing celebration and things of that nature. Like, I mean, for the most part, I would allow, the people that I see doing well or see above me or see having things that I don't have and things like that. I can't lie and say that sometimes, you're like, oh, well, why couldn't that be me or something like that? I'm human too, right? But on the flip side, I would tend, right, to look at those things as, with admiration, right? Like, if a person, has something that I don't have, if they are the type of person that won't mind sharing the information or whatever the case is, then that could be something that I learn versus that I envy. You know what I mean? Like, instead of being jealous, why don't we, I don't know, support that person? You never know. They might put out a course. You know what I'm saying? They might be willing to share the information with you. They might be able to hold your hand and help you up. It's just, can we shift the ideas and the things that envy and jealousy and selfish ambition, can we shift those things into something more positive? Like I said, one way that I've been doing that, or been, I guess, actively trying to do that, right, is when I see someone win, right, I've been just making a practice of clapping, right? I've been making a practice of celebrating that person in all of their wins, whether I am wanting what they have or not. You know what I mean? I'm in the habit so much now where it's like, it doesn't really matter. I see you winning, I'm clapping, I'm sharing, I'm giving you the like on, social media, I'm commenting, whatever it is. Because the thing is, like, when you truly think about it, right? Wouldn't you want somebody clapping and doing those things for you and being supportive of you when in your winning season? I can't lie, man. I've noticed, right, in my life, who's been there in my winning seasons, right? And who's been there in my down seasons. And I definitely appreciate those individuals that sow into me, whether it's words, cheering me on, whatever it is, right? They sow those things into me in both, again, the good and bad seasons. I try my best to pay that forward to others, right? In their good and bad seasons, right? If I see someone, for example, in a down season, I'm trying my best to, do you need a lending ear? Do you need a shoulder to lean on? Like, is there anything I can do to assist? And if someone's winning X, Y, and Z, especially if I know them or something, hey, y'all, I'm maybe trying to, like, acknowledge them. I know I got my group on Facebook or whatnot, Wine Self-Care and Sip Spa, and in that group is majority women. And anytime I see them celebrating something, like maybe an achievement, maybe they're getting closer to their weight goals, maybe they, one lady just got married, things of that nature. And you know what I mean? I'm trying my best to, let others know that, hey, y'all, let's celebrate this lady and her accomplishment. Like, we don't have to let the green-eyed monster, right, take us over. We don't have to allow envy, jealousy, and selfish ambition to overwhelm us and make us sin. Cause us to sin because we want what somebody else got. At the end of the day, we need to be grateful for what we have, right? Um, a lot of times, again, this whole idea of looking on the other side and wanting what someone else has, you don't know. Like I wrote this in my book. I wrote this example that I came across like when in my single days, and there was this lady that had this really nice townhome, and I was living in an apartment at the time, and she had this really nice townhome that she had just bought and X, Y, and Z. And we went and looked at it, and she just was showing us around. I'm like, man, this is a really nice place. There's a lot of space here. I'm thinking to myself, man, that again, as a single woman and seeing another woman having this and things like that, and it's something that she owned and something like that, it was like, wow. I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, this is nice, X, Y, and Z. And, I do wish I had something like this, X, Y, and Z, right? And then she showed us, I think it was the kitchen or something like that. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, here's some water damage that I got to fix, X, Y, and Z. And that's the thing, friend. Like, you don't know what the water damage is in someone else's life. Like, especially social media and everything like that. Like, it's so easy to just like look at someone's, for example, social media page and be like, oh, well, they got all of this and they got all of that. But you don't know what it took for them to get all of this and that, right? You don't know the work. You don't know the down seasons. You don't know the tears, the blood, sweat, and tears, as some say. Like, you don't know the water damage, right, of someone else's situation. Like, I'm in an apartment that had no water damage. There was nothing that I had to worry about. This lady, yes, she owned her place, but she has to fix the water damage. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the thing. Like, be grateful for what you have. Like, I know I'm in this season of contentment in my life, and I know it took me like a while to get here, right? And I know I'm sharing it all the time, and y'all probably like, oh, well, Miracle, you got everything you wanted. And in a lot of ways I do. Yeah, I do have a lot of the things that I desire, especially in my single days and things like that. Yes, of course, there's other goals, there's other dreams, there's other things, as well. But, for the most part, yeah, I do have everything that I wanted in life and things. But that still doesn't stop, again, the other things, right? I've even shared some on here. Like, I think back, I'm like, man, I should have traveled more. You know what I'm saying? I should, I would have loved to get, like I said, be on a touring show and do the whole, tour bus lifestyle, and things of that nature. Like, I would have loved to have those type of opportunities as well. But am I going to be envious and jealous of those individuals that have those? Or am I going to just celebrate them and say, man, that's an amazing accomplishment? And, if it's be God's will for me to have it, cool. If not, I'm still grateful for what I do have. Because at the end of the day, like, when I didn't have the things I do have now, this is all I desired. You know what I mean? Like, this was my main focus, So that's the thing, y'all. We just gotta like take control. Like, we have self-control. That's one of the gifts of the spirit. And, well, if you are a believer, because that's another thing too. I mean, I guess, but that's a whole nother conversation. But, believers, right, we have what is called self-control and things of that nature. I mean, we all have the ability, but I think more believers tend to lean into their self-control than others. But I mean, that's a whole nother thing. Again, that's a whole nother thing, Laura. Unless you want me to go deeper about it. Okay, I think he wants me to move on. Anyway, but yeah, man. I mean, we have the self-control, and that's the thing. Like, let's go back to Cain for a second, right? If we think about what God was telling him before, the situation happened, he's letting him know, like, hey, at the end of the day, I ain't gonna lie, right? When I first came across the Cain and Abel story, I'm like, well, why didn't God just accept his offering as well, But then when you go deeper and see, I mean, obviously there's other things going on, that maybe some things that we don't know, right? Maybe, again, God looked at Cain's heart and he knew not only was his offering not acceptable, but his heart wasn't acceptable and everything like that. And he told him, hey, if you do the right thing, you'll be accepted just like Abel was. You know what I mean? And I felt there was another minister diving deeper into this idea. I feel like I heard it a long time ago. But anyway, basically the individual was saying that, there was enough like love or whatever it was, right? Admiration or appreciation for both Cain and Abel's offering. And God let him know that, like, you do the right thing, there's love and, and whatnot for you, available for you. But instead of, again, repenting probably of his heart, or repenting of just giving a mediocre offering or whatever it was, instead of taking that ownership of, hey, you know what? Maybe I fell short here. Maybe I could have gave a better offering, whatever it was, right? Instead of doing that, he goes and leans into the idea of being jealous of his brother, being envious of his brother, and basically, I guess, wanting to, I guess, again, leaning into this idea of having selfish ambition, wanting to be above his brother. He took his brother's life in order to do that. And then not only that, then just bold-faced lied to God. Like, like you can't lie to God, but he, attempted, right, to lie to God and everything like that. So, which means that there was even something deeper and more sinister going on in his heart and mind, So y'all, I mean, just something to think about. Just something to think about. Let's keep going. Proverbs. Proverbs 27:4. It says, wrath is cruel. Anger is overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? I'm going to keep going with the next verse. It's 1 Corinthians 3:3. It says, for you are still of the flesh, for while there is jealous and strife among you, are you out of the flesh? Are you not of the flesh? And believing only in, or behaving only in a human way. So basically these two verses here, I did feel like, I felt led to put them together. And the whole thing is pretty much telling me that, it's saying like no one, it's like if someone's jealous, right, you can't even stand before that person, because again, sin lies at the door. You never know. Someone jealous of you will be that person to steal from you. That person that's jealous from you will be that person to kill you. Like, that's where it is. That's what I'm getting there, y'all. And so, and these things are fleshly ways, right? This is not the way of God. This is not the way of the Spirit. This is not the way of love. This is a human way. And we've all been guilty one way or another. I think a lot of us exercise self-control, because we don't go and steal every person that we might be jealous of, or kill everybody that we might be envious of, or whatever the case is. But again, instead, let's trade those emotions for something good, right? Instead of envying, let's celebrate, right? Instead of being jealous, let's lift up, and admire, whatever the case is, support, seek guidance and counsel. There's a lot of ways, again, to basically combat these things. And I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired to do so. I only got one more verse to share in regards to this conversation, and it's 1 Corinthians 13:4. It says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant. So, friends, I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Feel free to go into the Go Deeper section and, peruse those verses there. Let them marinate on your heart, souls, and minds, because ultimately, that's the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is James 3. No, it's not. The Bible verse of today is Psalm 59:16. It says, but I will say of thy power, yea, I will sing. Y'all can confirm if that was say or sing in the beginning in there. But anyway, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast seen my defiance and refuge. Has been. Sorry, y'all. Thou has been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. Friends, I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. This is ultimately the juice this morning. Y'all know that it is Thursday. So we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show that's coming out tomorrow night at 7. It's going to be with Miss Jill Schultz, and she has a powerful testimony all about her stepping beyond sexual trauma and shame. So if that's something that you all want to hear about and look into, listen to tomorrow's episode of the GSL Talk Show at 7 p.m. But yeah, y'all, take control of this thing. Don't let sin continue to lie at your door. Take control of that. We have self-control, and that's the juice. I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.